What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and it is Rocky Times and Rocky Top as the Tennessee Lady Vols have lost 8 players to the transfer portal, and recently they lost the second-ranked high school player in the country as Oliviyah Edwards announced that she is decommitted from the university. And now the question becomes, is it time for the Lady Vols to fire Kim Caldwell? And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I cannot even believe we're having this conversation, because when they hired her 2 years ago, I thought she was going to be the next great coach of women's college basketball, because she had a phenomenal year at Marshall during the 23-24 season, and she led them to their first tournament appearance since 1997. And I really love the style of play that her team had, because offensively they were a fast-paced offense that shared the ball and made a ton of threes, and defensively they were an aggressive attacking defense that challenged their opponents the length of the floor. And I really thought that style of play would be beneficial for the Lady Vols, because I thought that Holly Warlick and Kelly Harper tried to imitate Pat Summitt to a T, and obviously they were never going to have the success that Pat Summitt had, because Pat Summitt is one-on-one. She's one of the greatest coaches in sports history. And so although they tried to imitate her offensive and defensive systems, again, y'all, they were never going to have the same success that Pat Summitt had, because they didn't have the coaching ability that Pat Summitt had. And so that's why I really love when Kim Caldwell came in. She stated from the beginning, look, I know I cannot be Pat Summitt. I'm not trying to be like Pat Summitt, because obviously she's one of the greatest coaches ever. What I am going to do is implement my own system and hope to lead this program back to success. And again, that's why I really thought that her style of play, her offensive defensive systems, was going to be so beneficial for the Lady Vols, because you know she has a very unique style of play, y'all. Kim Caldwell wants her teams to, you know, run a fast-paced offense, really get up and down the floor, share the ball, shoot a ton of threes, make a ton of threes, and then defensively she wants them to be very aggressive, very attacking. She wants them to challenge their opponents, and we know she loves to run the full court press style of defense. Let's be honest, y'all, there's not too many teams in the country that have the type of systems that she has, both offensively and defensively. So I thought, you know, that her presence was going to be a breath of fresh air for the Lady Vols to really, you know, catapult them back to success. And early on, y'all, it appeared that way, as her first year was a tremendous success as they won 24 games. They made it to the Sweet 16, and they were 8 points away from going to the Elite 8, y'all. And then after that season, she brought in one of the best recruiting classes in Lady Vols history, as she signed five-star freshmen Mia and Maya Paldo, Jada Silva, Denal Prawl, and Lauren Hurst. And she also was able to bring in Janelle Barker from UCLA. And so going into the season, y'all, I mean, the Lady Vols looked like they had one of the most talented teams in women's college basketball. And I thought they could be a sneaky team to make it to the Final Four. And early on, it appeared as if they could do it. As they started the season 14-3, they were 7-1 in SEC play. And they were playing some very great basketball. You know, they were getting incredible production from their freshmen, particularly Mia, Jada Silva, and Denal Prawl. Janelle Barker came in and she was playing well. Talasia Cooper was playing like one of the best two-way guards in the country. Alyssa Latham was playing solid. Man, they were really getting really good contributions from basically their entire team. But then, y'all, they ran into the South Carolina Gamecocks, and that's really when everything crashed and burned, as they got dominated 93-50. And after that loss, Coach Caldwell called out her team and said that they quit on her during that game. And after that, y'all, they were never the same, as they ended the season on a 8-game losing streak, which is the worst losing streak in Lady Vols history. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I was very shocked by the way the Lady Vols ended the season, because I know that was a very humbling loss, you know, to get dominated the way they did to South Carolina, and then the way, you know, Kim Caldwell called them out. But I thought they were going to be able to respond from there, y'all, because I've seen coaches call out their team. You know, I've seen coaches really harshly criticize their team. To do that, to try to motivate their players to play better. And I thought that's what Coach Caldwell was trying to do. But obviously, y'all, that message did not sit too well with her players, because you could just tell their body language changed. It seems like they didn't play with the same energy. I mean, after she said that they quit on her, it just seems like they really seriously did quit on her, right? I mean, again, they just did not look like the same team the rest of the season. And because of that, you know, they ended up finishing the season on a 8-game losing streak. And obviously, y'all, her players did not take too kindly to the comments that she made. And I also want to mention this as well. That wasn't the first time that she called out her team, because she also called out her team after their loss to UConn and LSU. So there were several times that she harshly critiqued, harshly criticized her team. And again, obviously it did not sit too well with her team. And you look at the players that entered the portal. I mean, Mia and Maya Paldo, and Mia played very well. I think she established herself as one of the better point guards in the country. Maya didn't get a ton of playing time. When she did play, though, she showed herself to be a pretty solid defender. And then, you got Talasia Cooper, who I thought was the best player on the team. Again, she's one of the best two-way guards in the country, so that was a huge loss. And then you look at Denai Prawl, who was also a part of that freshman class that Kim Caldwell brought in last year. And I know she had a pretty solid freshman season, provided some really good toughness, rebounding, and versatility. Then you look at Kanaya Boyd, who is a really good defender, really good slasher. And then you look at also Alyssa Latham, who played well, gave them some solid minutes at that power forward spot. And then, you see this list is very long. Then you look at Jada Silva, who I think is one of the most electric athletic players in women's college basketball. And she was also a part of that freshman class that Kim Caldwell brought in. And then you look at Lauren Hurst, who didn't get a lot of playing time, but she was also a part of that freshman class that Kim Caldwell brought in last year. Then, Oliviyah Edwards, who is the second ranked high school player in the country. And again, she had committed to the Lady Vols, but last week she had decommitted from the university. So, that is a lot of talent that the Lady Vols have lost. I mean, can you imagine if all of these players were on the same team, how great they would be? Oh, yeah, that's right. They were on the team last year with the exception of Oliviyah Edwards, and they ended the year on the 8-game losing streak. And so it's just really sad, to see the state that the Lady Vols are in right now. I mean, this is one of the greatest programs, not just in women's college basketball history, but really in sports history, y'all. I mean, they have so much tradition and history. Obviously, Pat Summitt, again, she's one of the greatest coaches in sports history, winning 9 championships, making so many Final Four and Elite 8 appearances. So this is a very storied franchise, very storied program, y'all. And just to see the state that their program is in right now, it's really sad to see. And so, now we have to get back to my original question. Is it time for the Lady Vols to fire Kim Caldwell? And I will say this. The only way I would fire Kim Caldwell if I can get a definitive upgrade over her. And I think there's 2 realistic candidates, that they could potentially get. And it's Mark Campbell at TCU and Carol Lawson at Duke. Now, here's the thing. Both of those coaches have led their respective programs to back-to-back Elite 8 appearances. So I'm really not sure if either one of them will leave. I would say the one that would be most likely, to leave would be Carol Lawson, because obviously she went to Tennessee. She played for Pat Summitt, so obviously she has very strong ties to the university. Now, obviously, they tried that before, having a coach that has strong ties to the university with Holly Warlick and Kelly Hart. But I think if they were to hire Carol Lawson, that this would actually work out, because Carol Lawson is one of the best young coaches in women's college basketball. And you look at Mark Campbell, the job that he's done at TCU, again leading them to back-to-back Elite 8 appearances, winning 30+ games in back-to-back years. I think he's one of the most brilliant young coaches in women's college basketball. But I don't know if he would be eager to leave TCU. I mean, why would he? He's really building a great program down there in Texas. So would he be eager to come to Tennessee? I'm not sure. But to me, those are the 2 realistic candidates that they could potentially get that would be a definitive upgrade over Kim Caldwell. Obviously, there's a bunch of coaches out there that would love to be the head coach of the Tennessee Lady Vols, but you don't want to just fire Kim Caldwell and not have a great plan in place. I feel like if they were just to fire her and then you just hire some average coach just to say, well, look, we fired Kim Caldwell, we made a change. I don't think they need to do that. No, if you're going to fire her, you need to make sure you have a plan in place to bring in a coach that can be a definitive upgrade over her, y'all. And right now, I only see Mark Campbell and Carol Lawson as being the 2 realistic candidates that they can potentially get. But I think if they cannot get either one of those coaches, that just to keep Kim Caldwell and give her another year, see what she can do. I mean, again, y'all, just last year, they won 24 games and we went to the Sweet 16. So obviously, she has proven herself to be a very good coach. It's very unfortunate everything transpired this season. I would say for her, y'all, maybe she needs to, change her coaching style. Maybe she doesn't need to be as critical of her team to the media. And maybe she needs to be a little easier on them, because obviously her team did not take too kindly to her really critiquing them, harshly in the media. So maybe she just needs to, change her coaching style, not be as hard on her players, be a little more easier on them, maybe, that message will resonate with our players better. But again, y'all, I say for right now, to keep Kim Caldwell and to fire her if you're able to get Mark Campbell or Carrie Lawson. But if not, keep her, give her another chance to show what she can do, because her first year she showed she could be a very good coach, and I still believe she has potential to be one of the best coaches in women's college basketball. But it's going to be on her to turn this program around and get it headed back in the right direction. So there you have it, man. This was my thoughts about the current state of the Lady Vols program, why I think they should still give Coach Kim Caldwell another chance to turn this ship around. So there you have it, man. This was another episode of ZayMoolah Sports Podcast. Remember, y'all, lavish the message. So what? Make sure you get your daily dose. You know, I'm in it, man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.